Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today is a super easy but fancy looking two-tiered wire basket. We're going to use the string mop from the Dollar Tree. It's sort of cotton string, and we're going to use a large waste basket in the mesh wire mesh air, farmhouse thing, as well as one of these round baskets with the handle. And then we're going to use some of this wire in the wire set. We'll use the black wire, and then we're just going to use a tiny bit of glue. You probably won't need to use glue. I'm going to use glue because for camera purposes it was easier for me to glue the piece on there. And you also probably could use a pipe cutter or a hacksaw, or really it's up to you, and I'll tell you when we get there. First thing we're going to do is remove the string from this mop. It is so simple. I just take a little flathead screwdriver and you stick it under the little knob and you pry it up, and once you get one side off, the other side just pops right off. And of course, don't throw out all of this beautiful cotton string. I'm sure we can have a DIY someday to do with all of this beautiful cotton string. I know, look how farmhouse, I love it. Okay, so now we're going to take a needle nose pliers. Oh yeah, you might need a needle nose plier or a wire cutter, really. It doesn't have to be a needle nose plier. But we're just going to cut down these two knobs. So there's these two knobs that stick up that held that piece of plastic, and they're just going to be sort of in the way. So we just want to trim them down, cut them off. I'm using the cutting portion, the wire cutting portion of the needle nose, and I'm just prying them back and forth, and you can see I'm pulling pieces of plastic off as it goes. But you just want to get them low enough. They don't have to be removed entirely. You just need to get them low enough so that when you stand your mop handle on the ground, it'll be even. So I'm standing it on the table, but I noticed that one of the sides really just needs to come down a little bit, and now we're all good in the hood. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to determine whether or not we want our pipe cut down. Now I didn't want this to be very tall, but if you have the space, or if you want to put tall things in your lower basket like wrapping paper and stuff, you can just leave it as is. It would be really cute with wrapping paper in the bottom, bows and tissue paper in the top. Absolutely. But if you're going to cut it down, you want to determine where you want your top basket to be, and then stretch out its handle, and then mark about where the handle will land. And that's where you want your hole to be for that little plastic handle that we're going to take off. Okay, so basically all we're going to do is feed that handle of that basket through the handle of the mop, and it's just going to swing on there. But what we're going to do now is I'm going to show you guys how to cut it down in case you do want to cut it down. Now, you could use a hacksaw. You could use a pipe cutter. That would be my best thing to do. I lost my pipe cutter in the flood. It got all rusty. Salt water really is corrosive to metal. But pipe cutters are so easy. Basically, they look like a C-clamp, and you put it on the pipe and you turn it, and then you spin it around the pipe and you turn it again and spin it around the pipe until you have a beautifully clean pipe. And they're not very expensive. If you're ever in the hardware store and you see one and you're going to do DIYs like this, it's something nice to have in your bag. But this is also something nice to have. This is a miter box and saw. They're not very expensive either. I got these at Lowe's when we first moved here, because again, I lost mine in the flood. But what you're going to do is, this saw is a back saw. It means it's only going to cut as you pull towards you. So originally I thought you couldn't see it on my side, so I put it on the other side so that you could see it better, and turns out you could see it better on my side. But the miter box has a little longer leg on one side that sort of, as you push against the table, it kind of holds to the table so it won't slide all over the table, which is a really nice feature. But basically you just want to hold your pipe tight, and I'm going to cut around all the sides. Sometimes the pipe just wants to roll. You let it roll. You'll score around all sides. It's not a very thick pipe, and I keep calling it a pipe, but it's a broom handle. It's not a very thick broom handle. Nonetheless, it just took a minute to go around. And don't worry about it being a pretty perfect thing, because we're going to put that cap back on. So you just need it to be shorter. That's really the whole purpose of doing that. So I ended up taking off about 8 inches for my purposes. But if you guys, like I said, if you want to leave it tall, it would be fine, just perfectly fine that way as well. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is you're going to find the middle of your basket. And how I did that is, if you look here, there are sort of some of the holes, some of the diamonds that actually makes diamond shapes, some of the diamonds are full size. That's the middle of your basket. So basically, as the circle goes around to the left and the right, the diamonds get smaller, and that's how you can determine which one is your middle line going in that way. And the same with the other way. So when the diamonds are longer this way, you just want to find the intersection. On this particular basket, the intersection was where two wires crossed. When we're going to do the large basket, the intersection was actually between four wires. So you'll see if you come across either way, it's fine. Well, you just want to just snip that one wire. You don't need to make the hole too big because this does stretch. I think we've mentioned it before, this chicken wire kind of basket stuff does stretch really well. So as far as this basket's concerned, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to determine where your middle is, and you're just going to take a regular scissor and it just snips through really quickly. And I didn't cut around all the extra ones that I needed just yet because I wanted to shape it. Now I bent my basket. Don't push on the top of your basket, guys. I messed up. I don't know why I did that. I was impatient and HQ was getting ready to play, and who knew? But what you want to do is you want to be able to stretch that wire around the little black bulb on the bottom of the broomstick. Okay, and how we're going to do that is we're just going to clip up some of the wires that are around that center, just each like in 4 points, and then we're going to take our hands and we're going to actually push the basket in. It's so easy, I can't even begin to tell you. And it's okay if you push it in more than you need to, because it's much easier to go ahead and push the wire back down around that bulb at the end of the broomstick than it is to try to pull it through the other way. Like basically, it's easier to make it too big and push it fitted than it is to try to just make it perfect fitted from the beginning. Now I just added it's Gorilla Glue, hot glue all over the place. Again, that's just to help me wire it up on camera. If you find it easier to go ahead and glue it, you can. I'm just taking whatever pipe was left over because I can't fit my hand down in the basket and you see it at the same time. So I took the end of the pipe and I just pushed down on all the wire around that little bulbous bottom on the mop stick. Okay, now we're going to cut some wire. I'm going to cut 3 pieces about 12 inches. Now it's really going to be difficult for you to see what I'm doing, so hopefully I can explain it right. I actually spent a few minutes before the voiceover to try to determine how I was going to tell you how I did this. Only because it's black wire on black wire on a black bulb, and it's really, really difficult to see what I'm doing. So once you have 3 pieces that are cut to about 12 inches, it doesn't have to be exactly 12 inches, but you want it to be roughly 12 inches so that you can feed it back around. What we're going to do is we're going to go into the basket. Now this whole time the glue is drying over there, so now we know that the glue is really set up. If you are going to glue it, then you let your glue get set up. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the wire and we're going to put it between 2 holes with one cross. You know how the wire crosses over on the laundry basket, on the garbage can? You want to make sure that you're on both sides of one cross. So I'm basically putting one end of the wire in, and then I'm going around the mop handle and then back through the next hole. Okay? And once I have that, I am going across the bottom of the mop handle into the corresponding holes on the other side of the mop handle. Okay, and once I have them, the wires will be inside the basket. And once I've done that, now I cross them over. Basically, I take the left wire and I put it in the right hole where the right wire is coming out. And I do the same thing with the right wire. I put it in the left hole where the left wire is coming out. Then on the underside of the basket, I take both wires and I twist them together and just push them off to the side. We will deal with them when we're done with all the wires. Now you're going to repeat this with the other 2 wires in a triangular fashion the best you can. Again, this is just to help it be sturdy. It is a really nice basket. I have stuffed 2 of my biggest, heaviest towels in there, and though it's not huge basket wise, it did hold 2 bath sheets that are really heavy cotton and a whole bunch of washcloths in the top. But yeah, but whatever you're going to do with it, you'll see it's nice, and it actually does stand up really well. That was another thing that I was like hoping and praying, and it worked out really well. So anyway, you're going to repeat this for all three. So we're going to walk through it again. You're going to go from the inside, and you're going to put both ends of your wire through holes that are next to each other and around the broom handle. Then when you get to the underside of your basket, you're going to go to the opposite side of the broom handle bulb, basically directly across from where you came out, and you're going to go into the garbage can. Then you're going to take the ends of your wires and you're going to feed them back through the opposite hole that you just came through. Basically, where the right one is going to go. Where the right one came out, the left one will go in, and where the left one came out, the right one will go in. And when you get back to the underside of your basket, you're going to twist the two wires together. I really do hope that this is as easy as I hope I'm making it easy as it is. hoping I'm describing it as easy as it is. Let's say that. Because really it was. And then when you're done with all three, I basically took the wires, folded them in half, and then just twisted them. And kept twisting them until they were just as tight as a little tiny key. And then I was able to tuck them under basically the black bulb. It has a little tiny space at the very bottom because the sides of the garbage can are lower than the center of the garbage can. So there's a little space under the black bulb that I just tucked the wires in. I didn't bother gluing them. If you're going to put this on a carpet, you might consider gluing them just so you don't snag it on a carpet. But this was going in my bathroom and it's on a tile floor, so I didn't bother doing that, okay? So hopefully that made sense, okay? And as you can see, it's wicked sturdy. I could believe it. I kind of hoped it would be. Sometimes you just can't tell. Now, I've just put it on the floor so that you guys can see. I've put that top basket just right in the hole that we created for it. I'm putting the handle of the basket right through the hole in the handle of the mop, putting it back on to the basket, the handle back onto the basket, and then putting the handle back onto the mop. And then it just hangs on there. Obviously, there's a hole in the middle, so it's not just hanging, but it's hanging fitted on there. Now, option, you can go ahead and paint this black. I'm going to paint it black. It was so humid for the last 3 days, and if you guys know anything about spray paint, you cannot spray paint when it's humid. Your paint will be tacky for the rest of your life. So I really have to wait till a day, maybe after it rains or something, until it's much cooler. Not cooler, well, cooler too, because it was 91 degrees and humid. But it's okay with white, doesn't bother me. I think it looks cute, black and white, but the inspiration piece was all black. I've just wanted one of these for a very long time, and they're always like $25, and I'm like, 3? Maybe we can make it for 3. So, and I really love it. I mean, there's so much fun and stuff that you make, isn't it? I just, have a little bit of like, hey, and here is me picking it up with these heavy towels. Now, of course, we didn't glue the mop handle onto the mop. We didn't glue the top knob onto the mop handle, so don't pick it up by that. But if you do want to do that with some E6000 or Gorilla Glue or Crazy Glue, whatever, I would go ahead and recommend that. But you can hold it by the handle plenty fine. So that's it. And here is, I told you I stuffed 2 big towels down there and the rest of washcloths on the top. But that's just one way of using it. So I hope you guys really enjoyed this tutorial. It was so much fun to do for you guys. If you have any questions at all, leave them in the comments down below. Don't forget to share with friends and family, anybody you know might be interested in making this or any of these techniques. And if you make one and you personalize it with, maybe jute rope or spray paint or contact paper, go ahead and share it with me on all the social medias. You'll find links to all my social media down in the description box down below. And if you haven't yet, click subscribe, and when you do, a little bell will pop up. When you ring that bell, YouTube will let you know whenever I upload a new video. And as always, you take care, God bless, and we'll see you next time. Bye!